On the day of Marcus's engagement party, his mentee, Luna, fell from upstairs. Marcus left on the spot, leaving me alone. He promised me, "I'll be back." I gracefully arranged for the guests and called Marcus. But from the other end of the line, I heard Luna weeping, "Marcus, I'm holding you back." Marcus gently comforted her, "It's just an engagement party. What's more important than a life?" I knew my relationship with Marcus had reached its end. I packed my luggage and left the country that very night. I saw Marcus again 5 years later. He cornered me at the airport upon my return to the States, grasping my wrist and demanding, "You've been hiding from me for 5 years, and you're finally back?" Before I could reply, Leo spoke up. "Mom, this strange man is so rude. I'm going to tell Dad. I'll have Dad beat him up." The guests had all dispersed. I sat motionless on a chair, wearing my carefully chosen gown. My eyes ached terribly. I blinked a few times, and tears involuntarily streamed down my face, completely ruining the elaborate makeup I'd spent over 3 hours on. "Did you reach Marcus?" Eleanor asked from the side, a hint of anger in her voice. I nodded mechanically. "So, what did he say?" I tried to force a smile, but my tears only welled up further. I recalled the call I had just made to Marcus. Before I could even speak, Luna's weeping came through the phone. "Marcus, it's all my fault. Today was supposed to be your engagement to Grace, and I dragged you down." And comforted her gently, "It's just an engagement party. What's more important than a life? If this engagement doesn't work out, there'll be another. Your priority right now is to recover peacefully." After that conversation ended, I didn't dare to hear anything else Marcus had to say and fumbled to hang up the phone. Eleanor looked at me, her eyes full of reproach for my weakness. "Marcus said he was leaving, and you didn't stop him? Did he have something so urgent to handle that he couldn't spare time for his own engagement?" William, seeing Eleanor so agitated, quickly put an arm around her and whispered words of comfort, while Marcus's relatives sat by, exchanging glances, none daring to speak. Just moments before, my boyfriend of 3 years had left our engagement party on the spot for his mentee. "Marcus, if you leave this engagement party today, we're completely over." Marcus comforted me with a smile, "Don't be dramatic, Grace. I'll be back in a bit, I won't be long. I'm serious. If you step out of this hotel entrance today, we're breaking up." Marcus stared at me steadfastly, his tone still gentle. "Don't keep talking about breaking up. I owe you an apology this time, wait for me to come back. Next time, I'll definitely give you an even grander engagement party to make up for it." Overwhelmed by emotion, I became somewhat hysterical. "Marcus, you're my boyfriend. My fiancé. Do you know how long I've been planning this engagement party? You can leave any other day, but not today." I blocked the door, not letting him out. Marcus frowned in displeasure. I knew this was a prelude to his anger. "Grace, look at yourself. What's the difference between you and a crazy woman? Luna fell from upstairs and got injured. She's a young girl on her own. What's wrong with me, as her sponsor, going to help her? How did you become so cold and unsympathetic? You weren't like this before." Marcus's dark eyes bore into me, the indifference in them almost pierced my heart. "Remember to make arrangements for the guests. I have to leave right now." With that, he brushed aside my arm blocking the doorway and left the hotel without looking back. I didn't notice that the phone in my top pocket flickered a few times. The person saved as Luna had sent several more messages. I stood facing the mirror, seeing my reflection, dressed immaculately, with perfect makeup, but a distorted, furious expression. I said, enunciating each word, "Grace and Marcus are officially over, starting today." It was like stating a fact, but also warning myself. After left, I gracefully arranged for the guests to depart and spent a long time persuading my parents to leave the hotel. Along the way, there were certainly glances of disdain or people enjoying the drama, but I chose to ignore them all. My family background was respectable, and I had always been proud in our social circles. After being with Marcus, few dared to provoke me, but I had also offended many people because of it. As I changed out of my gown, preparing to leave the hotel, I was stopped by a woman. She and I had always been at odds. In school, we competed for the top spot. Then, when we started dating, we both fell for Marcus, and Marcus ultimately chose me. Ever since, she never missed an opportunity for sarcasm whenever she saw me. Well, Grace, look at you, how pathetic. Looks like Marcus finally got tired of playing with you. I knew it, someone like you was bound to be dumped by him sooner or later." I gave her a cold glance. "Even so, I'm better off than you. At least he bothered to play with me, unlike you, who he didn't even want." "You." The woman was furious. Humph, others might be afraid of your summer, but I'm not. Do you really think everyone wants to be completely obsessed with a man, like a dog revolving only around him, as you do? I've already taken over my family's project and made 100 million, what about you? After all these years, I've seen it clearly. You're still foolishly believing Marcus loves you. It's hilarious. You were just a decent backup option among all those who pursued him. If there was someone younger and prettier, do you think he'd still be with you? She looked at my expression and spoke again. Could I have been right? Did really find mistresses? Ha ha ha, Grace, you finally got what was coming to you today. I was annoyed. What does that have to do with you? It has nothing to do with me, but seeing you unhappy makes me happy. I pushed her away and walked forward expressionlessly, hearing Marcus's friends muttering behind me. She didn't refute anything just now. Looks like Marcus really dumped her. Good riddance, I've always hated her deadpan face. Listening to the disparaging remarks behind me, my heart shattered into a million pieces like glass. I was just a plan B, a fallback. He could give me some affection in his spare time, the same kind of love he'd give to a pet kitten at home. My pride and self-respect had long vanished under Marcus's constant suppression and hot and cold treatment. I didn't refute them because that was indeed how I used to be, believing that endless tolerance and lowering my standards would earn me Marcus's pity and love. I always convinced myself that at least I was his official partner, and no matter how many women Marcus found, my position wouldn't be shaken. But love wasn't like that. It wasn't love just because I stayed home, did his laundry, cooked for him, and hung on his every word. It wasn't love just because I tolerated everything around him and let his friends hurl sarcasm at me. It wasn't love just because I dealt with his mistresses and other women and still forced a smile at parties with him. Love is active, respectful, and independent. What happened that day eventually reached Marcus's ears. A week after our engagement fiasco, he called me. I just found out what awful things they said that day. Don't be angry, Grace. Grace, I bought you that pink diamond you wanted. I'll have it set into a ring, and it can be my apology gift when I see you next. But, I still have to say a couple of things. There were so many people at the hotel entrance, how could you give my friends the cold shoulder? Where did that leave my reputation? If they mocked you, couldn't you have just endured it for a bit? You could have told me later, and I would have definitely handled it for you. Look at how ladylike Luna is. How can I feel secure marrying you when you act like his? Never mind all that. My dad said we'll redo the engagement party next month. I'll definitely give you an even more lavish and grand engagement ceremony than this one. Luna, Luna, always Luna. Ever since Marcus started sponsoring Luna a few months ago, he had mentioned her name repeatedly. Later, her name appeared more and more often at dinner tables with Marcus and me, in chat logs, and even in our bed. Marcus and I had been dating for 3 years. How could I not know what he looks like when he falls for someone? But I had loved him for so long, I was unwilling to let go just like that. I always thought, maybe things would get better after the engagement, that he'd settle down. But I never expected Marcus abandoning our engagement party for Luna this time felt like a harsh reality check. I was speechless on my end of the line. Marcus, we broke up. I told you, the moment you left the engagement party, we broke up. Marcus's tone suddenly turned cold. Grace, you know my temper. Don't make jokes like that, I'll pretend I didn't hear that. I'm not joking, I'm serious. I won't cling to you anymore, you can rest assured. I won't have anything to do with you ever again. Grace, aren't you afraid I'll get engaged to someone else and not want you anymore if you say things like that? Marcus's tone held an implicit threat. I gave a mocking laugh. Right, when have you ever lacked women around you, Marcus? Even when you were with me, you didn't hesitate to find young models for one-night stands. So feel free to get engaged to whomever you like. Having said that, I hung up his phone without hesitation and blocked all his contact information. If we were going to break up, it was best to make a clean break. But why did my heart ache so much? I lay back on the sofa, tears silently slid down my cheeks. My heart tightened in my chest, and each beat was accompanied by sharp pain, as if each beat reminded me of what I had lost. I knew Marcus said those things because he was convinced I wouldn't leave him. After all, our acquaintance began when I was walking home from university one night and was stopped by a group of thugs who tried to harass me. It was Marcus, passing by, who saved me. He appeared in my world like a knight in shining armor. I fell in love with him at first sight and became utterly dependent on him. I could even tolerate some of his cheating behaviors after we started dating. That's why he always acted with impunity, thinking that if he just appeased me a little, I'd calm down and reconcile with him on my own. Everyone knew I couldn't leave him. But this time I didn't want to keep deceiving myself. I used to think things would get better after the engagement, but human flaws wouldn't disappear. A month after we broke up, Marcus didn't contact me again, as if purposefully trying to teach me a lesson, wanting to make me get jealous and anxious, and then actively go back to him to reconcile. Throughout that month, gossip about him continuously circulated in our social circles. He was either with young models or some minor celebrities. The girls around him were like charming girls. His friends' hints that I should go reconcile with Marcus often reached my ears, but I remained unmoved. Without my presence, Marcus and Luna seemed to let loose and openly cavorted together. Luna posted her activities with Marcus on social media every day. She became Marcus's personal assistant before she even graduated, becoming an object of envy. Today took her to a luxury brand dinner. Tomorrow spent the entire night with her during a thunderstorm. The day after, he took her to an industry summit to meet various industry giants. Now, if you wanted to know Marcus's schedule, you could just check Luna's social media posts. My chat history with Luna only contained one message from when she first added me. It was, "Do you believe that with one message, I can make him abandon you, even while you're preparing for your engagement, and come to me?" At the time, I dismissed it as words spoken in anger from a young girl and didn't pay her any mind. But I never expected to stumble so badly because of it. I realized then that in Marcus's choice between two, I would always be the one he cast aside. And now, I didn't want to stay put and wait for him to cast me aside again. Sitting at home, looking at the lush green outside the window, I suddenly wanted to go out and see the world I had never seen before. For all these years, I had stubbornly guarded my love for Marcus, refusing to move an inch. But now that love was gone, it was time for me to leave too. After telling my brother my plans, he decided within an hour to send me to open up the US market for the company. Does it have to be me? I told you I wanted to travel, not work. I tugged at the doorframe, looking at him pitifully, then at Mom and Dad. Eleanor felt a pang of reluctance, trying to stop my brother. "Grace has been in a bad mood lately. Why are you assigning her work? What kind of brother are you? The company needs to open up the US market. I can't leave the States, and Dad's getting old. If doesn't go, who will?" my brother said helplessly. Grace has always been more capable than me. If she hadn't refused to take over company matters all these years because of Marcus, our family would have already reached another level. This time, you can't refuse no matter what. Don't you want to clear your head? Well, then go to the US and numb yourself with work, so you don't spend every day thinking about all that lovey-dovey stuff. Resigned, I picked up my luggage and boarded the plane, beginning a long-haul flight to the US alone. As soon as I settled into my seat and organized my luggage, I put on my eye mask, ready to drift off to sleep. "Is that Grace?" A clear, pleasant male voice reached my ears. I pulled down my eye mask. A tall, slender man wearing a black mask stood beside my seat. The man had a pair of charming, peach blossom eyes, his eyes shimmering with a captivating sparkle. He saw my expression of recognition and then pulled down his mask. "It's me." I saw his clear, handsome face and said, somewhat surprised, "Ethan, you're going to the US too?" Ethan, the senior I referred to, nodded with a smile. "I received an offer from a university there in the US to be a professor. Grace, I didn't expect to run into you on the plane. I saw your social media posts a while ago saying you were getting engaged." My smile gradually froze on my face. I didn't know how to word telling him about my failed engagement party. There was an accident. He and I broke up. This trip to the US is to help my family's company expand its projects. Ethan sensed my discomfort and didn't pursue the topic. "Then we'll be able to see each other often in the US." I smiled and nodded vigorously. Ethan and I met in the university's drama club. Ethan was the president of the drama club. He was very handsome and exceptionally talented, the obvious choice for the male lead when rehearsing plays. At the time, we both found a lot of common ground in literature, and we collaborated multiple times to create many well-received drama performances. I still remember that night, one of our newly created plays had its successful premiere, and everyone from the drama club agreed to celebrate together. After everyone got drunk, Ethan walked me home. The sky was dotted with stars, and we talked about our favorite literature on the way. We were very close. The faint scent of cedarwood from him made me feel a little dizzy with attraction. That day, I had the illusion that we were soulmates. My heart involuntarily leaned towards him. I had planned to wait for him to confess his feelings. But later, after I fell in love with Marcus, I focused entirely on him, and the pen I'd put down was never picked up again. My relationship with Ethan also gradually grew distant, and we stopped seeing each other. This reunion on the plane, okaying into his familiar eyes, I suddenly felt a vigorous and strong heartbeat from my empty heart. During my first week in the US, Marcus called me. I didn't want to answer, but the caller persistently rang my phone, as if they wouldn't stop until I answered. As soon as I answered, there was a silence on the other end, as if waiting for me to speak first. Having just arrived in the US, with a lot of company matters to handle and no one speaking on the other end, I grew a little impatient. If you don't speak, I'm hanging up. Marcus finally spoke, his voice a little hoarse and tinged with a hint of drunkenness. Grace, it's been over a month. Had your fun? You've never gone this long without coming back to me before. Summer isn't that short-staffed, is it, to send a young woman like you to the US? You should be back by now. I was speechless. Marcus, what do you mean, fun? You know I never joke with you. Whether Holdings is short-staffed or not is none of your business, and you can't control where I go. The accumulated tasks since arriving in the US had made me quite irritable, and my tone of voice was unconsciously sharp. Can you stop talking to me in that tone? Haven't you calmed down after all this time? I apologized to you, bought you a pink diamond, and I'm going to make up the engagement party to you. What else are you still unhappy about? Why are you always so dramatic? Marcus's tone was tinged with anger. You went abroad without a word, dealing with a bunch of men every day. Look at yourself, do you still look ladylike? Where's your upbringing? You weren't like this before. Marcus's words made me laugh out of anger. How dare he demand that after leaving him, I still act like a complaining housewife, stuck at home just to cook for him and sleep with him? What exactly is ladylike? When you say that, why don't you ask if your deceased mother was ladylike? Do you think anyone in our social circles doesn't know your father married into your mother's family? If the ladylike you're describing is like Luna, then I apologize, but I can never be that way. Marcus was furious. I called because I wanted to talk to you properly. I've booked a hotel for the 2nd of next month. We'll redo the engagement party. When you come back from the US, I'll pretend I didn't hear anything you said today, but after we're engaged, I don't want you to do any more public-facing work. I'll settle down too, and we'll just put all the past behind us. My fury shot through the roof. You think we can just put it behind us? Let me tell you again, you can get engaged to whomever you want. We've already broken up. If you're so desperate to marry, go find Luna. I think she'd be thrilled to marry you. After venting my anger, I decisively hung up, blocked his number, and turned off my phone. Just as my emotions calmed down, I suddenly heard a knock on my front door. Ethan, it's you? What's wrong? I opened the door and found Ethan standing there. He was wearing casual clothes, but only 2 buttons were fastened, his abs subtly visible with his movements, and his pale chest half exposed, inviting contemplation. I secretly swallowed, inwardly scoffing at his lack of decency. It was only on the day I arrived in the US that Ethan and I discovered we were next-door neighbors. Ethan said with a warm smile, I just called you, but your phone was off, so I came to knock and ask you. Are you busy tonight? I heard from students at the university that there's a fireworks display at Rocky tonight. My eyes instantly lit up. Not busy. Where is it? At beach. Later tonight, let's grab dinner first, then I'll drive you there. I nodded quickly. Okay. See you tonight then. I smiled. See you tonight. After dinner, Ethan and I arrived at Rocky. We walked side by side on the soft sand, surrounded by crowds of spectators. A moment later, a crisp crack shattered the silence, and fireworks burst into the sky. Like colorful but earthly's dancing, they painted the dark night sky into a dazzling, vibrant tableau. Ethan occasionally turned his head to look at me, his eyes shimmering with an unspoken emotion. The fireworks illuminated his face, casting a luminous glow on his well-defined features. A blush involuntarily crept onto my face. Ethan said softly, do you still remember our first meeting? It was also on a night filled with fireworks. You were just as captivating then as you are now. My cheeks felt slightly warm. Of course, I remember. It was my freshman year of college. After meeting you that day, you lured me into the drama club. Ethan chuckled softly. Then you should be thanking me for uncovering your talent. I smiled without a word, silently agreeing with him. If not for Ethan, I might never have known I had a great interest and talent for directing. Neither of us spoke again, and the atmosphere fell into a strange silence. Ethan suddenly stopped, turning to face me. Our distance imperceptibly closed, close enough to feel each other's breath. He lowered his head and gazed at me, his eyes filled with deep affection and anticipation. Grace, these fireworks are beautiful, but do you know? In my eyes, you shine brighter than any fireworks. Ethan looked into my eyes and said earnestly. My heart skipped a beat. Can I take that as you confessing your feelings to me? Yes, actually, I wanted to say this 4 years ago. Ms. Grace, will you be my girlfriend? Ethan said, enunciating each word. My heart raced involuntarily. I looked up and met Ethan's gaze. In that instant, time seemed to stand still. I could feel his warm breath and the unspoken emotion in his eyes. I looked into his sincere eyes. The yes almost slipped out, but I still hesitated. In the 3 years with Marcus, I had loved him to the point of being bruised and battered. I didn't know if I still had the courage to love again. It's okay, Grace, it's okay. I don't care about your past relationship, I only care about you. What happened before doesn't matter. What matters is our future, yours and mine. My hand unconsciously clutched the corner of Ethan's shirt, as if to confirm the reality of his confession. Then, please take care of me, my boyfriend. I smiled. I was willing to give Ethan a chance, and to give myself a chance. Fireworks exploded in the air, their sound becoming the only background music between us. A faint, ambiguous aura filled the air. Ethan slowly leaned in. Finally, his lips gently touched mine. In that instant, it felt as if an electric current surged through us. His hand gently wrapped around my waist, pulling me closer to him. I slowly responded to his kiss, our heartbeats synchronized in each other's embrace. Back home, I saw that Ethan had posted something on social media, which was rare for him. After many twists and turns, it finally came to fruition. The accompanying picture was of him and me kissing beneath the fireworks display earlier today. Many members of our drama club from back in the day joked and teased in the comments of that social media post. Ethan, that man who's been waiting for her forever for all these years, finally brought our club beauty home. I looked at these comments, and my ears and cheeks flushed hot. My best friend since college, Chloe, called me directly. As soon as I answered, her sharp shriek through the phone almost pierced my eardrum. Grace, you're finally with Ethan. You have no idea how much I shipped you two in college. I was so sad when you were about to get engaged to someone else a while ago. I never thought things would turn around. Her excited words amused me. Ethan and I were just friends in college, how could you have shipped us? The heartthrob of the drama club and the belle of the drama club, campus celebrities. Many people wanted you two to get together back then, you know. If only later. Chloe's tone dropped for a moment, then rebounded with renewed energy. But now our Grace has finally pet her misery and is heading towards a new life. After the call ended, Ethan sat on the sofa and embraced me from behind. I leaned into his embrace, feeling the warmth and solidness of his body. I clearly smelled the pleasant cedarwood scent on him. He lowered his head and kissed my hair. What were you talking about with Chloe? I laughed in his arms. She said some people thought we were a good match back in college, and she never expected us to actually get together now. Ethan said softly, actually, I wanted to confess my feelings to you on your 20th birthday. But I never expected that before then, you met Marcus. I turned my body to face him, looked into his gentle eyes, pecked him on the lips, and cut off his unspoken words. After the kiss, my face quickly flushed crimson. Ethan chuckled softly. He pressed the back of my head, bringing our lips together again. The kiss started gently, gradually growing deeper and more passionate. His hand slowly moved up, gently stroking my hair, while I tightly embraced his neck, responding to his every move. The atmosphere grew increasingly sweet and intimate. After the kiss, Ethan, with a deep gaze, lightly rubbed my lips with his thumb. I playfully glared at him. My lips are swollen. Ethan said nothing, but leaned in and kissed me again. That night, every corner of the house was permeated with the sweet and intimate traces of our connection. It wasn't just them who saw the social media post, Marcus's friends saw it too. That night, Marcus was gathered with his idol friends. He casually held a cigarette in his mouth, a hint of fatigue in his eyes. One of the idol friends at the gathering, Brandon, knew Ethan. After he scrolled past the social media post, he forwarded it to his friends. The few of them exchanged glances, none daring to speak first. Marcus noticed the sudden quiet in the room and frowned. What's wrong with all of you? Brandon hesitantly spoke up. Marcus, I just scrolled past Ethan's social media post. The one about Grace, your friend from the drama club back in college. Hearing's name, Marcus's frown deepened. So what if you saw his social media post? You're connected, isn't it normal to see his posts? A man beside Marcus, who was still unaware of the situation, spoke up. Marcus said nothing, only exhaled a smoke ring and drained the drink on the table. He recalled Grace's angry words to him during their phone call earlier today. Marcus felt wronged. He had already disciplined his friends who spoke ill of Grace behind her back that day, and booked a more luxurious hotel for her, designing a more perfect engagement ceremony, just to make up for that incomplete day. What else could Grace be dissatisfied with? She was also senselessly getting jealous and anxious over Luna. Luna, a girl who had just started college, was sexually harassed while serving food at a restaurant, and he was fortunate enough to have saved her. Saving at the time also reminded him of his first meeting with Grace. What's wrong with sponsoring Luna and giving her a job out of pity? The group doesn't lack a single job. Besides, Luna fell from upstairs that day. If she hadn't gotten medical attention quickly, she might have lost her leg. Did they expect Luna to work as a dishwasher with a crippled leg? Marcus didn't understand why Grace had become like this. She herself had once been harassed by thugs, so how could she be so cold toward Luna? He admitted that his heart had wavered slightly when he saw Luna's charming face and youthful age. But for so many years, Grace hadn't cared even when he found young models, so why was she throwing a tantrum now? Marcus recalled what Luna had said, that he was too lenient with Grace, and he really should give her a cold shoulder to teach her a lesson. Brandon across from him spoke up, his expression strange. Marcus, Ethan's social media post is his official announcement with Grace. The private room suddenly fell silent. No one around Marcus dared to breathe. It means he and Grace are together, and he posted a picture of them kissing. Give me the phone. Marcus looked coldly at Brandon, he said hoarsely. Brandon hesitated for a moment before handing over his phone, but secretly regretted having revealed the matter. Marcus stared at the phone screen for a long time, then furiously smashed the phone onto the floor. Everyone in the private room was startled by the sudden scene. Brandon mentally mourned his phone for a second. That's enough for tonight. I'm not in the mood, Marcus said coldly, then left the private room expressionlessly. The image of Grace and Ethan kissing lingered in Marcus's mind. How dare Grace? Did she really give up on him like that? Marcus couldn't believe it. But the truth was, ever since that phone call earlier today, he couldn't reach Grace anymore. He went to her house, but her parents and brother refused to give him her contact information. It was only when his tightly clenched fists began to ache dully that he finally came back to his senses and noticed beads of blood welling up in his palm. He casually wiped the bloodstains on his expensive suit, not seeming to care. He suddenly thought, if Grace were here, she would surely nag him again about how many bacteria would get into the wound from his suit. Marcus had never imagined he would be so dependent on Grace one day. A bitter smile appeared on his lips. How long was Grace going to be dramatic this time? As for me, the one Marcus kept thinking about, I spent over a year finally getting summer branch office in the US on track. The day the company successfully completed its first project was Christmas. Ethan and I booked a restaurant to celebrate. After being with him, I felt respect, tolerance, patience, and love I had never experienced before. When I was sick with a fever, he didn't close his eyes all night, constantly taking care of me. He took my temperature, gave me medicine, and applied wet towels until my condition improved. After the company gradually improved, I said I still wanted to pursue my dream of becoming a director. Ethan helped me network, introducing me to many directors and screenwriters in the US and asked them to mentor me. Marcus wanted me to be a beautiful, delicate girl, like a daughter flower, but helped me reclaim my identity as an independent, free, and strong woman. In the restaurant on Christmas, Ethan proposed to me. Grace, every day I spend with you, I'm incredibly happy. I hope you'll be my wife, allowing me the right to care for you, love you, and spend my life with you. Ethan, dressed in a suit, knelt on one knee and said with deep affection, Grace, will you marry me? My hand trembled involuntarily, my heart instantly quickened, as if the whole world had quieted, leaving only Ethan and me. This time, I didn't hesitate. The moment I nodded, tears welled up and fell. I extended my left hand, trying to calm my excited emotions, my voice trembling, I do. 3 months later, Ethan and I held our wedding in the US. We didn't have a grand banquet or invite many guests. Instead, we kept everything simple. We only invited our closest family and friends to witness our love. That evening, after I showered, I was sitting on the sofa playing on my phone when I saw Ethan emerge from the bathroom. He had only a towel wrapped around his waist. He had broad shoulders and a narrow waist. His 8-pack abs hadn't lost their definition despite his desk work. Unwiped droplets of water still ran down his muscles, and his lower body was tantalizingly glimpsed. Seeing the sight before me, I felt a little thirsty. Ethan and I had been together for over a year, and we had been intimate many times. But every time I saw his perfect physique, I still couldn't help but feel shy. Ethan walked towards me, picked me up by the waist, and gently placed me on the bed. Grace, it's our wedding night. His eyes were full of mirth. Let's stay up until dawn. He whispered in my ear, his breath tickling me. My face was flushed with embarrassment. We'll see how you do, I said. Ethan chuckled, then kissed me. His ardent kisses traveled lower, and our breaths mingled until the first light of dawn. Months later, Marcus had actually found my address in the US. When I opened the door and saw him, I froze. Grace, I finally found you. Travel-worn, Marcus stepped forward and embraced me. I forcefully pulled away from Marcus, asking coldly, how did you find this place? Don't worry about how I found you. We haven't seen each other in over a year. Don't you miss me? Come back with me, please? Marcus firmly placed his hand on my shoulder. Let go. I shook his arm off, stating with a heavy tone, why would I go back with you? We broke up a long time ago. I never agreed. I never agreed to us breaking up. There was truly nothing between Luna and me, I swear. I'm innocent. Please believe me, Marcus pleaded. I'll tear my heart out and show you if you want. You don't need to explain your relationship with Luna to me. And our breakup didn't require your consent. I stared steadily at him. Do you know, Marcus, your explanation came far too late. This isn't love at all. You ran away from our engagement party to find Luna, knowing full well I'd be mocked, and yet you still did it. You hired Instagram models and celebrities for your parties, knowing I'd face scrutiny, and yet you still did it. You tacitly allowed your friends to disrespect, trample, and provoke me. You knew it all, deep down. You just didn't value me, you didn't love me, so you let it all happen. I bit back my tears, recalling everything I had endured, unable to believe I had wasted years of my life on a person like him. I'm sorry, Grace, I'm so sorry. Seeing just reminded me of the old you. Marcus swayed. I'll fire her as soon as I get back, okay? I'll cut ties with all those friends. Of course I love you, I only love you. Look, I brought our engagement ring. Can I put it on you? Marcus knelt on the floor, his voice trembling, his eyes pleading as he looked at me. Listening to this declaration of love, years too late, I felt only desolation. In all the years I was with Marcus, I had never once heard him say he loved me. If it were before, hearing those words might have melted my heart completely, and I would have forgiven him instantly, no matter what he had done. But now, those words came too late. 2 years had passed. What was the point of saying all this? Marcus, let it go. I raised my left hand, showing him the ring on my ring finger. I'm already married. Marcus looked as if he'd been struck by lightning, standing frozen. You're lying to me, aren't you, Grace? You're just trying to anger me. I don't believe it. I hurried into the bedroom, pulled out the marriage certificate, and held the 2 vibrant red documents in front of Marcus. This is my marriage certificate, see? Do you believe me now? Marcus stood up, murmuring, Grace, stop messing around. This is fake. He cupped my head with his hands, forcibly pressing his lips to mine. Feeling the cold touch of his lips, my stomach churned, and I felt like I was going to throw up. It's real. I struggled free and slapped him hard. Are you awake now? My face was pale, and I suddenly felt a pulling pain in my lower abdomen. Get out. I was in a terrible state, my hair disheveled, my eyes bloodshot, like a wild animal ready to lash out. Marcus didn't dare provoke me further. He gave me a deep look, then stumbled out of my house. After he left, the pain in my lower abdomen didn't subside. My hands trembling, I called Ethan, and he drove me to the hospital as quickly as possible. Congratulations, you're 3 weeks pregnant. You need to rest well and avoid strong emotional fluctuations. I touched my lower abdomen with a hint of surprise, instantly forgetting the unpleasant incident at home and beginning to anticipate the arrival of new life. 10 months later, I gave birth to our child. Ethan named him Leo. When was almost 3, a film I directed and wrote was finally completed and ready for release in movie theaters. After finalizing a partnership with movie theaters in the US, Ethan and I decided to return to the States with Leo. After getting off the plane, Leo and I stood in a corner of the airport, waiting for Ethan to pick up our checked luggage. While standing there, bored, I suddenly saw Marcus and his new assistant waiting anxiously by the arrival gate. After I went abroad, Marcus had started taking over the family business. However, his investment judgment was poor, and he lacked actual work ability. Nearly every project had lost money since he took charge. The group was filled with widespread complaints. Later, after he returned from the US, he fired Luna. But, who had always revolved around Marcus, had long since been expelled from school for failing too many courses. When she tried to find other jobs, she ran into obstacles everywhere because she didn't have a bachelor's degree. When was desperate, she stabbed Marcus in the back, leaking 2 Vance projects that were on the verge of cooperation to a rival conglomerate. After losing 2 easily obtainable, high-profit projects, the Vance, once a powerhouse, became a hollow shell, all show and no substance. This time, Marcus's father had personally set up a project, demanding that Marcus secure the partnership at all costs. So, as a major CEO, he lowered himself to personally pick up the partner at the airport. Just as I saw them, Marcus saw me too. Grace! Marcus strode forward. He rushed up and grabbed my wrist, demanding, Grace, you hid from me for 5 years, have you finally decided to come back? I silently rolled my eyes. Before I could speak, my Leo piped up. Mommy, this weird uncle is so rude. Why did he just grab you? I'm gonna tell Daddy. Daddy's gonna beat him up. Marcus then noticed Leo standing by my leg, and his tone instantly became excited. When did you get pregnant? This must be our child. I knew you were lying when you said you were married. You definitely still love me. But seeing Leo's height, he hesitated slightly. But why does our child look so short for a 5-year-old? Did you two not eat well overseas? It's fine, you can make up for it when we get back home. Leo retorted indignantly, you're the short and ugly weird uncle. I'm not even 3 yet, isn't this height perfectly normal? 3? The gentle expression on Marcus's face vanished instantly. A smile played on my lips as I pulled my hand away from his. Who told you this is your son? Didn't I tell you I'm married? We've been broken up for 5 years, how could I possibly have a son under 3 with you? With every word I spoke, Marcus's face grew colder. He tried to grab me again. Enough, Grace, don't overdo the act. I stepped back a few paces and fell into Ethan's embrace, who had just retrieved our luggage. Ethan had a smile on his face, but it didn't reach his eyes. Marcus, what do you think you're doing to my wife? You too. Marcus was a little incredulous, and he seemed about to say more. His assistant stopped him and whispered in his ear, Mr. Daniel will be here soon, CEO Fu. This man doesn't look like he's wealthy. You can talk to Grace properly after the meeting. Marcus didn't say anything more, but he gave us a deep look before turning and striding away. Are you all right? Ethan asked, concerned. I smiled. I'm fine. Leo stood nearby, hands on his hips, looking for praise. I protected Mommy today, aren't you going to praise me? Leo's the best, I said, leaning down to kiss his chubby little cheek. As expected, I encountered significant resistance when discussing partnerships with domestic movie theaters. The group had once been a titan in the domestic film industry. Although its assets had significantly shrunk in recent years due to Marcus's bizarre maneuvers, even a fallen giant still holds significant sway, and many people were still willing to give his parents face. I approached many movie theaters and PR firms seeking partnerships, but they all turned me down once they heard my name. As I was leaving one company, feeling disappointed, I ran into Marcus, who was about to go in. Marcus saw me and stopped me. Grace, I've thought it through. It's fine even if you're married. You know me. Just divorce Ethan and come back to me. I won't mind that you had a child with him. And if we're together, I'll handle your film's promotions and scheduling, and I'll use the Vance's resources to help you with any movies you want to make in the future. I looked at the man before me, a flicker of disgust rising in my heart. Marcus, even if you gave me the stars, I wouldn't come back. I know you suffered a lot of grievances with me. I'll treat you well. I shook my head, smiling. Marcus, 5 years have passed. All that is water under the bridge now. I stopped caring a long time ago. I don't believe it. How could you just stop loving me now? Marcus's voice was sharp. I suddenly felt exhausted talking to Marcus. Marcus, we broke up so many years ago. We'd been apart longer than we were ever together. Believe it or not, I'm leaving. I looked at Marcus, whose eyes were bloodshot, and quickly turned to leave. Times had changed. Seeing again, there was no ripple in my heart. The 3 years I was with him were becoming increasingly hazy in my memory. When I couldn't secure suitable movie theater or distribution deals, Sterling, the Vance's biggest rival, sent me a collaboration invitation. Marcus, as if out of spite, brought up one of his own company's films to compete against mine. To meet the same release schedule as mine, that film was hastily completed. Marcus then spent all the money on marketing and promotion, allocating very little to post-production. Before the film's release, Marcus gave me a phone call. Grace, you still have a chance to turn back. What I can do for you? Ethan never can. I suddenly laughed. Marcus, I truly feel sorry for you. In your eyes, Does love always have to be traded for personal gain? Do you love him so much that you'd abandon a film you worked so hard to make? Marcus's voice was tinged with anger. What exactly do you love about him? My love for Ethan and my love for film are not in conflict. He respects me, he supports me, he's a million times better than you. Even if I weren't with him, I would never in this lifetime be with you. I've learned my lesson the hard way, I won't be looking back. The only reason Marcus and I ever ended up together was perhaps because of our similar personalities, equally stubborn and obstinate, bristling with sharp edges. But my rough edges had been slowly smoothed by Ethan over the years, while Marcus, due to recent setbacks, seemed to have become even more extreme. After the film's release, my work received widespread critical acclaim, and movie theaters were almost always packed. Meanwhile, Marcus's film, despite his heavy investment in marketing, suffered a public backlash and was widely mocked for flopping, being only a tenth as good as its promotion suggested. His all-or-nothing decision this time pushed the already precarious Vance directly to the brink of bankruptcy. Marcus finally shed his arrogant demeanor and started daily chasing deals and raising investments, but because of his past arrogance, no companies agreed to partner with him, and those who approached him, he looked down upon. At this time, Marcus's sister returned from abroad. Sophia, who hadn't been back home since Eleanor, Marcus's mother, passed away, took over the Vance assertively upon her return, immediately implementing sweeping reforms. The corrupt elements Marcus's father and Marcus had previously placed in the company were also unceremoniously purged by her. She forcefully sent Marcus's father to a sanatorium, cut off from the world, and showed no mercy towards her brother Marcus, who nearly ruined the Vance. Sophia sent Marcus to Africa to develop a project. Calling it a project development was really just banishing Marcus to Africa to survive on his own. After all, Sophia had gone abroad precisely because she had lost a power struggle with Marcus back then. Before left, he came to my house to see me, but I didn't meet with him. It was a torrential downpour that day. He knelt by my front door, holding a bouquet of hydrangeas, with our old engagement ring in his pocket. He cried, continuously apologizing to me, hoping I would just look back at him. My brother watched him from the window, his expression complicated. Marcus reaped what he sowed, he murmured. Men are all the same, I said nonchalantly. Leo, who was playing with toys nearby, chimed in his childish voice. Leo isn't like that. Leo loves mommy the most. As finished speaking, ripples of laughter filled the house. When I received Sophia's phone call, I was trying on a gown. My film had been nominated for an award, and I was going to walk the red carpet at the film festival. Sophia's call had a probing tone, and I explicitly told her that Marcus and I were long over. Less than 2 months later, news came that Marcus had died in the conflict in Africa. A chill ran through me, but I still restrained myself and didn't ask further. On the day of the film awards, the grand hall was magnificent. I walked up the red carpet, arm in arm with Ethan and holding Leo's hand. Cameras clicked, and reporters marveled at how our family of 3 looked every bit as good as actors. As night fell, the atmosphere at the star-studded film awards ceremony was tense and exciting. My eyes were fixed on the stage, and my heart pounded like a drum. I recalled the past 2 years, during which I had poured all my passion and sweat into that film. Every shot, every line of dialogue was infused with my very being. Time seemed to freeze in the waiting, every minute stretched into an hour. My hand instinctively gripped Ethan's, and I felt my heartbeat quicken, my breath becoming shallow. Ethan reassuringly held my hand and gently patted it. Flashbulbs occasionally flickered throughout the venue. I felt as if I were at the center of a huge vortex, with all eyes and expectations focused on me, a rookie director. Finally, the host walked onto the stage and began to announce the nominations for Best. This year's Best is a new filmmaker. The host deliberately drew out their words, and the atmosphere in the hall instantly grew taut. I closed my eyes, a myriad of thoughts flashing through my mind. Grace. When I heard my name, I could barely believe my ears, feeling my entire body's blood boil. Thunderous applause and cheers erupted throughout the venue. Feeling a wave of dizziness, I opened my eyes to the dazzling stage lights and the enthusiastic audience, and tears streamed down my face uncontrollably. I stood up and hugged Ethan, who was sitting next to me, saying choked up, "Husband, thank you. I love you." He smiled and gently nudged me towards the flower-adorned podium. I walked up the red carpet leading to the stage. Each step felt firm and strong, and I knew this moment would be etched in my memory forever. Standing on the stage, clutching the trophy, I tearfully expressed my gratitude to my beloved, my family, my friends. Through my misty eyes, I looked at Ethan and Leo, who were smiling and watching me from below the stage. On the long road of life, with them by my side, I knew I would never be alone again. Thank you for watching today's story. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and share it with your friends. We look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comments. Feel free to share your perspectives, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more exciting stories. See you next time.